There you go.
Okay, there.
All right. Good morning, everybody. A Shavua Tov, or good afternoon to Chana, as the case may be. We are delighted and honored to have a very special guest for a nice Sunday morning discussion. We have with us from the holy city of Tzfat, Mrs. Chana Margulies, and I'll just read to you her bio that is from the back of her new book called, and here it is, Jumping in Puddles. So raised on an organic farm in Canada, Chana now lives in the mystical city of Tzfat with her husband, Rabbi Ariel Margulies. Chana is an ambassador for or of the Lubavitcher Rebbe. She coaches women and couples in the work of Byron Katie. Chana's articles and videos are featured on Chabad.org. She gives motivational talks and workshops for a wide range of audiences around the world. She teaches Hasidus in high school and seminary and weekly online classes. And before we leave today, we'll let everyone know how they can get in touch with Chana directly. Welcome, Chana. It's so nice to see you.
Thank you so much. Thanks for doing this. Baruch Hashem, so cool.
Pleasure.
I would love to be able to see you. Are you on camera?
I am on camera. I actually spotlighted the two of us. So I'm sorry, maybe are you on a phone?
I'm on a phone.
So swipe across with your finger. You might be able to see all the other people, including myself, if you swipe.
All right, I was swiping. I can't see you, but it's okay.
Okay. Well, let me also give a shout out to your mom and dad who are on the call now. They are proud parents and also proud members of the Bayit. And so we're delighted to welcome you and any other family members who may be on, including your husband, Rabbi Ariel. So let's talk. Chana, you have this amazing new book called Jumping in Puddles. And it's a memoir, I guess we could call it, of someone who is incredibly quite young, but also has been through a lot so far in her very short life. And you write beautifully. I actually want to recommend the book just as a great read on a Shabbos afternoon, because you write in a very engaging way that made it eminently readable and interesting and relatable. So the first thing, Chana, I just wanted to ask, and we're very, very proud of you, especially because you grew up in our community.
Thank you.
I wanted to ask if you could tell us a little bit about your personal journey in brief, even though you detail it in your book, and what really inspired you to write this book, Jumping in Puddles.
Thank you so much, first of all, for reading the book. And I'm so happy that you said it's a good Shabbos read, because I'm always looking for a good Shabbat read. So I'm so happy that could be, Jumping in Puddles could be that for you on that Shabbos. So a bit about my journey. That's what you asked?
Yes.
So I grew up on an organic farm in Uxbridge, Ontario. This is so fun that this is a Thornhill Zoom, because you guys actually know where that is. And it was a beautiful childhood of my own horse and other things that I think people dream about, and our own pond, and just really this beautiful idyllic childhood. And moving to the city, I was really a searching soul. And so it expressed itself in searching in drugs and parties and lots of ways that teenagers search. But really, it was this search of looking for something more. And I remember when I first started getting involved in NCSY and Torah High, I would go for classes once a week. And then I'd be at these parties and I'd be, explaining these amazing ideas I just learned, like God and Shabbat, and that there's a purpose and meaning to everything to like other people at the party. So it was like this really interesting transition stage. And as I was really, just learning more about my heritage, learning more about Judaism from the amazing NCSY staff and also the community, I got to know the Thornhill community through all these Shabbatons we'd have, or also I was invited to people's homes and like invited to sleep over and have this whole 25-hour experience. So as I was getting to these amazing this new community that was welcoming me, I got this dream of going to seminary. So I went to seminary when I was 18 years old, and a month in, I was diagnosed with a rare and aggressive form of cancer. So that's when the journey really shifted gears. So I came back to Thornhill to begin immediate treatment. I had my first CAT scan. It was a CAT scan. My first CAT scan the next day that we'd had arrived back into Canada, thanks to Echo, Shelley Botnick, for scheduling me in there. And this whole medical,
Wonderful organization. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Echo is phenomenal. And my bedroom became, my parents actually, part of this journey of really getting to know the Thornhill community and going on these Shabbatones was that not only was I becoming involved in NCSY, but my entire family was becoming involved in the Thornhill Jewish experience. And so they'd actually moved to Thornhill the summer before I would be diagnosed. And so now my father knew I was coming home in like 24 hours. And within 24 hours, he made me this beautiful bedroom. And this bedroom was, like a low-key hospital room at home. It was filled with medications, but it was beautiful. And that's really where I wrote most of Jumping in Puddles was in that bedroom. And for me, I had signed up for a year of learning. I really wanted to not just learn through books. I wanted to have experiential learning. That was a huge part of me going to Israel. So I was like, okay, God, I signed up for a year of learning, so let's learn. And a huge turnaround for me was, this is my classroom. Sunnybrook is my classroom. So these nurses are here to teach me about trust, because there's no trust exercise like having, your blood taken. And these walls are here to teach me something. And just being able to open my eyes to really say, like, I'm here to learn. I signed up for that. So what are these different experiences and the people who are now entering my life, what are they here to teach me? And for me, that was an empowerment of, I'm the narrator of my own life. So I don't get to choose necessarily how the story goes, or definitely not the different characters that enter my life, but I always get to choose how the story is told. And so really I was writing Jumping in Puddles throughout that whole experience.
Wow. And it's written almost like a diary or a journal. And
Yeah.
because you have every few pages is a new journal entry. And it really takes us through the transformation that you underwent in your life, both from, going through the health crisis that you went through, which Baruch Hashem, you came through with flying colors, thank God, really miraculously, and also the religious journey that you went through. And it's, I'm sure looking back on this publication, it must have been very cathartic for you to be able to journal this whole process. For other people who may sadly be going through a similar kind of situation, whether it's less dramatic or more dramatic than what you went through, would you recommend the same for other people to journal their process, their journey?
Absolutely. And I think in terms of challenges, it's whatever's challenging to you. If it feels challenging to you, it's a real challenge. So it doesn't matter if it was just a hard day at work, or like we're saying something more extreme. Giving ourselves the space to really do the inner work, which is really the godly work, which is really the Avodas Hashem, is so powerful. So for me, writing is a form of prayer. I can open that blank page or that notebook and I can talk to God in a very translucent, honest way, because the paper can handle it and God can handle it. And for me, I know that writing, usually there's a happy ending. So as I'm writing out all the pain and all the mess and the frustration and the raw emotion, in the back of my mind, something's going, so what's going to be the turnaround? Like, what's going to be the happy ending? And so for me, I think that was a hugely therapeutic, was being able to write and know that when I pick up the pen, I know that I have the potential to transform something. It's sometimes I won't write because I'm like, I don't want to transform this. I just want to be in it, because that's how transformational writing is for me. When I pick up that pen, I know something's going to come through. So I didn't put anything in the book that's hindsight. Hindsight is great. There's lessons to be learned after a challenge, 100%. But that writing is for me. And the writing that I share is only the writing of things that I authentically felt during treatment, because I knew while writing it that I wanted to share it. Part of this plan was, I'm going to survive and I'm going to have written a book during this and I'm going to share it. And that was hugely purposeful for me. also, feeling so alone, like my, tons of support, but at the end of the day, I'm in my own little world. The idea of being able to share my inner world was so powerful for me. So I was sending out different emails with these different journal entries throughout treatment and getting back like the hearts and the smiley faces, and having a way of sharing my inner world. It was empowering. I think it gave me the ability to allow others to support me in the way that I wanted to be supported, because they could really get it. So I think that there's the writing afterwards of hindsight, which is of course therapeutic, but even more so I'd say is the writing in the midst of a challenge. And I really told myself, I'm not adding fluff afterwards. If I come up with something beautiful later, that's great. But I'm only writing in this book things that I could actually transform in real time. Because if someone's going through something real, they need to hear it in a real way. And I can only write about the insight when I write about the pain, for it to be real, for it to be relatable. And so for me, that actually really challenged me to take on an ayin tova, and I have like really looking for the good and the opportunity in each moment that I don't think I would have even thought of if I wasn't challenging myself to write. So yeah, I absolutely encourage everyone to find the mode for them that feels like a creative mode of prayer. And I think that's going to be different for everyone, but there's difference between just getting it out versus this is expression, and this feels like godly expression. And for me, I think that's the therapeutic part.
Beautiful. I mean, as you say, it's not, a person doesn't have to go through the same kind of health crisis in order to be able to find benefit in this kind of journaling. Whatever your challenges in life, live the moment and express yourself in that moment. That's a very inspiring thing. There is a postscript to the book, although not written in your voice. I believe your mother wrote a postscript.
Yes.
You did a Seudat Hoda'ah, a sort of a Thanksgiving meal with your family. And there your mother reflected on her feelings. And that was sort of in retrospect, but also not from the perspective of the patient, but from the perspective of the parent of the patient. And many times the parent's experience is even more painful than the patient's experience. So I thought that was very moving to read what your mother had to say about it at the end as well. And that's really an important sort of postscript to the entire book, is that what you went through didn't only impact you, but it impacted all of your loved ones, and really so many other people that were impacted and also inspired by that journey. So let me ask you a question about your Yiddishkeit. You touched briefly on how this journey started with NCSY and progressed, and now you are a Rebbitzin in the holy city of Tzfat, educating other people. So first, let me ask you, Chana, what was the hook for you that brought you in to Yiddishkeit, to observant Torah Judaism, where so many other of, let's say, your peers did not find that hook? What was the hook for you that really drew you in? Obviously, you're a very deep person. You're very thoughtful. What was it about Yiddishkeit that brought you in?
For me, I'll tell you a single experience that encapsulates a lot for me. I went on a Shabbaton in somewhere in the York Hill area, and the woman who we were going to be having this Shabbat meal at, she made me tofu because we are lifelong vegetarians. And part of growing up on the farm was we didn't eat the animals. They were our pets and our friends. And for me, it's like, you care that much? Like, you don't just care about my soul. I know you care about my soul. Like, this is a religious situation, but you care about my body. Like, you care about me. And for me, like, that level of cared about, like, you made me tofu. Like, who does that? It was such a level of what I felt, which of acceptance. And something so powerful is like the different rabbis and rebbitzins and people I would discuss with. I saw that they were bringing me into a discussion. They weren't trying to preach and say, this is what I know and you should change your worldview, because my worldview was very not in line with Jewish thought in many ways. And I was exposed to many other points of views on reality. And they were bringing me into this discussion in a way that they really respected what I had to say also. And for me, that level of respect, of seeing me as a human being, is refreshing, and it was also empowering. And I think the empowering aspect is really what, like you said, got me hooked. We were called the chosen nation. And I think this is one of the greatest misconceptions of all time. People are like, what do you mean we're the chosen people? Like, it sounds so arrogant. Like, and people get really turned off by that. I get this question a lot. Like, why are we called the Jewish people, like the chosen people? Like, people are upset about it. And I heard a beautiful explanation. We're chosen to make every single person on this planet feel chosen, Jew and non-Jew alike. To let everyone know that you're chosen for a unique mission. Because out of all the souls that have been brought down here and all of existence, right, in the last 5,000 years, no one else has been able to do what you can do. Obviously not, because you're here. So you're here to accomplish something that no one else out of all the generations and all the souls have been able to accomplish. And this feeling of you're chosen for a mission. And so for me, that's really the message I was getting. It was like, you're an indispensable part of the Jewish people. Like, the Jewish people is compared to one body. And like, you cannot miss any part of the body. Like, you are an essential player. And that feeling of you matter, and we want to hear your voice, and we want to hear your Devar Torah, even though it might be so off right now because you're like 2 weeks into learning Judaism. Like, we want to hear you. That was very empowering for me. And I think that's actually what really got me hooked, was that feeling of not only are you wanted and accepted, but you are needed. You're vital.
That's a beautiful message. So this took place, I want to say, what, 2015, 2016, yep. Right? Something
you got the dates
there.
In the books, right?
Yeah. I mean, listen, since COVID, everything's a blur chronologically, but you obviously, you know, since that time, you've evolved so much. You met your wonderful husband, Rabbi Ariel, and you've made this move to live in Tzfat. What has evolved? Well, like, we're all on a journey, obviously, and you're still on that journey. Where are you at this point? How is the Chana Margulies today different from the teenage Chana Spiro who first went on that first NCSY Shabbaton?
I think one of the main differences, I mean, that's like the question of life. But like, thanks to the moment to reflect on it, I think one of the main differences is I was always into doing inner work. Like, I was heavily involved in Buddhism before I was into Torah. And like, so the idea of doing inner work wasn't foreign to me. But the idea of the whole world is Hashem, and I'm interacting with Hashem. I'm interacting with God. Like this, my inner world is part of serving God. It's the vodus panimi. It's this inner world, is this inner work. And so when the cashier triggers me because like the way they like looked at me, I know that's Hashem showing up in my life. Before, it might have been more of like this like enlightened thing of like, you know, at least I don't look at people like that, you know, but you know, like I'm too holier than that, like this false spirituality almost. And I think what Torah and what Chassidus has brought into my life is the whole, we exist in God. Like, that's the punchline of all this. Like, we're in God. It's like, does a God exist? Does God not exist? Like, the whole question is funny because like we're in God as we speak. Like, there's this, one of my favorite jokes is these two fishes are swimming around and one says to the other, hey, do you believe in water? He's like, of course I don't believe in water. So that's how I feel about, that's been the switch for me, is like, I'm in it, meaning I'm in Hashem. So there's no such thing as the difference between like my inner work with God and my outer work of helping other people or just sending an email. Like, it's one cohesive reality versus like, this is when I'm being spiritual and this is when I'm being practical. And this is my not so holy side and this is my holy side. No, like, it's just being like, I think Torah has really allowed me to be a human being in a much more wholesome way like that.
Now, you mentioned briefly that while you were on this journey, you had studied other faiths and other belief systems, including Buddhism. Tell us a little bit about how some of the teachings of Buddhism have helped enhance your the depth of your commitment to Torah and to Hashem. Because a lot of people might feel that, you know, everything outside of Torah is has to be shunned and has to be rejected, but there's wisdom in every system. So what have you gained from some of those outside systems?
It's true. There is wisdom amongst the nations. I guess the difference is Hashem gives us in the Torah's emet. So Aleph, Mem, Tet, the beginning of the alphabet, the middle of the alphabet, the Mem, and the Tet at the end. So it's just fully true. So I think once through the lens of Torah, of truth, I can look back at other things that I was taught, and I can like take those sparks, if you will. Like, ooh, like that's the truth in it. And I won't say that I draw on what I learned in those meditation, silent retreats on a daily basis. But what I will say is that it really showed me the importance and how vital it is to be mindful and to have a daily meditation practice. That's something that instilled in me very strongly, because I saw the difference of who I am with that and without it. So for me, connecting to Chabad Hasidus is a meditation practice. It's living with the mindfulness of I live in Hashem, so I'm interacting with God constantly. And so where am I in that relationship? And I think one of the main differences that I found is just like with the Buddhist meditation, I was very much focused on clearing the mind. And with the Hasidus Jewish meditation and his Boinanus is about filling the mind with holiness. It's not just about making a vacuum, it's about making an active place of holy imagination. And in the same sense, also, like, it was very much about like getting rid of my bad midos, getting rid of the anger, getting rid of jealousy. Like I would read books upon books of these things in Buddhist philosophy of like getting rid of all the ichsa. And in Hasidus, I found, no, Hashem wants your ego. Use your ego for God. Like that's one of the most powerful things you have. So now let's go use that for Hashem. So I think it gave me an introduction and it gave me a starting point. And definitely, I don't think I would have been so open to Judaism if I hadn't had the Buddhist experience, because the mindfulness aspect of meditating on your food for half an hour before you eat a pea was very helpful when someone told me, oh, you can say a blessing. It'll take you 20 seconds. And not only will you just have your own holy experience or spiritual experience, you're going to make the pea holy also by eating it with a blessing. So it really, it prepared me for full truth, which is Torah. So I'm not exactly one of those people who, like, I do believe, yes, there is wisdom among the nations. And for example, like I do run an empowered wife group in Tzfat for 15 women. And thank God we're saving marriages, we're transforming marriages, we're watching miracles. And it's not a Jewish book at all. It's not written by a woman who's Jewish. And yet we're able to see the lens, because we're learning Hasidus, we're learning Torah, we're able to see that lens and see it so clearly for what's good in it and take those parts out and like take the beauty of it.
Right. And that's the thing, is that I'm sure that when you make a bracha on a pea, you're, even if it's taking you just 20 seconds, which is a long time for a bracha, but at least you're living in that moment, right? In other words, all too often we do these halachic practices by rote, and that is not really fulfilling the whole objective. Like Rabbi Yehuda Halevi writes, that the whole function of making a bracha is to be mindful of this moment where I'm about to enjoy a gift from Hashem, who created this amazing pea or this apple or whatever this food that I'm about to partake in. And it allows me to pause and to meditate for that short moment, to really appreciate the gifts of life. So that might be something that you were able to draw from your earlier experiences. And that really, like you said, it only enhances your Yiddishkeit. What does a moment of meditation look like for you? Is it something you do religiously every morning, before you daven, after you daven? Like, what is meditation for you?
I love what you just explained. And it's kavana. Meditation is kavana. And it's intention. And that's exactly where we're holding in Tanya right now. The book of Tanya is a huge part of my life. I teach it in different facets. It's an obsession, if you will. And that's exactly where we are right now. It's like the act of the mitzvah builds a home for Hashem. But you could have a home when the lights are off. So the kavana, the intention, the consciousness is turning the lights on, and you realize what's there. So it's not to say, God forbid, that a mitzvah is worthless if there was an intent. You still really did build a home for God in this world, but it's not revealed yet. And I think that's what for me, morning blessings is my morning pep talk. It is my meditation. It's all those blessings have so much meaning and depth. Like, I'll give you an example, like the morning blessings of Keif Kefufim, who straightens the bent. So it's like the simple levels, like God gives me a spinal cord, and like I'm grateful for that. And then, so of course, being grateful for that, and going deeper into the kavana of my head is over my heart. We're the only creations that walk head over heart consistently. So my head being over my heart means I can think any thought I need to think today, and it will help me emotionally. Meaning, if I'm willing to be conscious and think positive, powerful thoughts, no matter what happens today, I can get myself to a good emotional place. So having that moment in the morning to like really set that intention, then I can like tap into it throughout the day. And I really think that's what Jewish meditation is. It's having kavana, and we have endless opportunities of different blessings we can say and different moments of prayer to like re-tap in. But that's why I think the morning meditation of Shacharis, of the morning prayers, is so powerful, because once you're plugged in, you just like re-tap in for a moment here or there throughout the day, and you're good because you've already set that. So for me, I'd say it's the morning prayers and the blessings throughout the day.
Amazing. And Hasidus in general is a wonderful way of channeling into that mindfulness, that living in that moment of doing the mitzvah with kavana. So I just want to shift for a second. You have a wonderful family in our community, the Spiros, and each one of your family members, each parent, your mom and your dad, your siblings, everyone has chosen their own unique path. I guess starting off from that organic farm and up in farm country. So, by the way, are you coming home for Pesach? Are you coming to Ontario for Pesach?
You're all welcome to come here.
Oh, okay, all right.
No, I actually was just in New York, and I saw my family there.
Okay, so what does a family get together look like for the Spiros? And is everyone just equally accepting of each other, and how does that dynamic work?
So I do feel like I am extraordinarily blessed that my parents have made incredible accommodations for me and for my husband, but not just out of like, we'll accommodate you, like we'll make this family gathering work, but really with like the full kavana, with the full joy of like, the greatest joy is that we can be together in a way that's peaceful. To give an example of like, from my mother, I went the first year that my husband and I, our first Pesach together, we came home to Toronto as per custom, we were told. And so we came home, and we're Chabad. So we have some more intense stringencies of like peeling everything you eat on Passover. So get your peelers ready. And so I would never, ever expect my mother to do that for me.
And nothing out of a can, right?
Oh yeah, nothing processed. Nothing out of a can. It's like basically just drink carrot juice. I don't know. So basically,
my sister-in-law and brother-in-law are Chabad, so I'm very familiar. Yeah,
you're familiar with all the peeled cucumbers of Pesach. So my mother said, I want us to all be able to eat the same food. So tell me what that's going to be. And I was like, no. Like, we'll have our own little corner over here where we peel things. You do you, like, no problem. But for her, like, the value was that we're all going to be together. And I want you to feel fully welcome, fully taken care of, and fully like a guest. And so therefore she made Chabad Pesach for everyone. Okay. Like, there were some few desserts for like, the others, but like anything we were eating, we were all eating, which is like just so like beyond, if you realize how much extra work that is. But for me, like, it really just like shows like that value of like, we're going to make family time so special. And like, for example, we got married on the farm that I grew up on. So it was like that combination of like, yes, I value where I'm coming from, and I value this farm that I'm so blessed to have. It's one of my favorite places in the whole world. And can I have a giant Hasidic wedding there? And my father and my mother, of course, my father is very much building things, went all out so that I could not just have my dream of a farm wedding, but like have a Hasidic farm wedding. And so I think my parents are just a huge inspiration to me of like what's possible to allow, you know, when someone is doing something so different than us, to make them just feel so comfortable and so welcome. And I think what's special about us is that we're all inspired by each other. Like I in no way I'm like have this thing of like, oh yeah, like I live in Tzfat, so like I'm and like I'm this person and blah blah blah, so like you should be inspired by me, family. It's like no, when I go home, like I am so inspired by the efforts that my family makes for their Judaism and the different intent and different things that mean things to them, and you know something that they could do, which for me would be no big deal, for them is such a huge effort, and for me that's inspiring to see. So I think the respect is very real, and it's not natural. I wouldn't say. I think it's very much worked on, and it has to be renewed. And I definitely, you know, get coaching before I go home anytime. I'm someone who is, I will, please God, always have a good coach, a good therapist, a good someone in my life who is that objective voice to really make sure I'm going home with the mindset of respect and being inspired and just grateful. So thank God it's a good time over at the Spiros.
Yeah. Well, listen, as someone who grew up in California, my wife and I are both from California. We consider you and your family kindred spirits, because that's definitely a California ethic of live and let live. And it would be great to see so much more of that especially within the Orthodox world. I want to ask you, Chana, if you would be okay broaching a delicate subject. I know that going through cancer treatment at such a young age was not without its consequences to your body. You still have some challenges with fertility issues. Can you discuss, how this has affected your emunah and how you're dealing with it? To whatever extent you'd like to or not like to discuss, you let us know.
Yeah, this whole Zoom is so fun. It's so fun that I get to discuss all these things with you and all these beautiful people who are on here. Because this was the most painful part of the journey throughout treatment. I was very much not fighting for my life as much as I was fighting for my fertility. And I was constantly like, it was both, but in my consciousness, that was very much the active battle. And I'll say it like this, I have a lot of articles on Chabad.org about this fertility treatment. I kind of treated Chabad.org like my diary for like a year of treatment. And really, the place I'm at now, as of last Purim, is a new place of emotional freedom that I am so grateful for. Because I'll tell you, for a very long time, I was playing victim and I was playing martyr, and I was like putting this thing on myself and on God called God needs to give me a miracle baby. And it's like, said who? Like what? Because everyone gave me blessings for it, and because I told myself at 18, I'm going to prove the doctors wrong and I'll have that miracle baby. And so what I did to my body and to my life and to just the way I viewed myself, my sense of worth was so tied up with this miracle baby. And Baruch Hashem, after a certain loss last Purim time, I like woke up and I was just like, who said I need to do this for God again? Like, where did God make me sign the dotted line called my mission in life? And I cannot be happy until it's called giving this like miracle baby that will show how great God is. Like, why don't I just get to know how great God is? Why don't I actually start liking Hashem instead of resenting Hashem for this unasked for mission? And the way I like to see it is like, or the way I experienced it is that the whatever box I put myself in, I'm putting God in the same box. My paradigm of reality is my paradigm of myself. So when my box of myself was, I need to have this baby to, express a certain level of essential worth that I felt like I had lost, called fertility with treatment. And until I do that, my whole paradigm of God is God needs to give me this miracle baby. And so we were constantly like in this like tug of war of like, I do this mitzvah and you give me this blessing. It was a very limited view of God, and my box broke. It's called an ego death. And I got to this place of like, wow, God, I have no idea who you are. Like, I thought I know who you are. You're this God who's supposed to create this miracle for me. And if you're not that, then like, who are you? I just really like intimate moment with God where I went out by the beach where we were staying by the beach to do treatments, and not so bad, right? And I went out over these cliffs, over the ocean with a glass of white wine. And I said, L'chaim, Abishter, L'chaim, God. Like, you win. Like, I don't know who you are. Like, I thought I could put you in a box, but I can't. And it was just this feeling of like, wow, like if I can't put God in a box, meaning I can't put what my life is supposed to look like in a box anymore. That's terrifying because I don't know myself and I don't know God. But it was just like l'chaim to like the adventure of it. Like, show me who I really am and show me who you really are. And one Torah that like I really have like held with me from that point is this idea that I heard from Rabbi Y.Y. Jacobson, that we're told that we're made in the image of God. And we're also told, don't make an image of God. Whatever you do, don't make an image of God. No idols. So if we're made in the image of God, that you're not allowed to make idols, that's confusing. And so the idea is that just like God has no image, to be made in the image of God means that I'm imageless. Just as you can't put a bound on God, don't put a bound on yourself. Don't make an idol. Don't make an image of yourself. And I really, throughout this journey, I thought this journey was supposed to be about this miracle baby I'm going to have, and that's how this book is going to end. And it didn't. It ended so much better because like as a writer, it's a very boring ending if you ask me personally. But God is really like the master of the plot twist, because it was like, wow, like I'm being invited to live out of my comfort zone. Like I'm being invited to live out of this image that I know myself to be. Like I live in a community where like, Baruch Hashem, I'm watching my friends not just have their first babies, but their second and their thirds. And it's very hard and it's very emotionally painful. And it can be suffocating. And also just isolating and like mentally, just like mental health wise, like horrible. And at the same time, I'm being invited by God to say, step into a different realm of like, know yourself beyond this, like know yourself as imageless as I am your God, and like I'm imageless. So in terms of Emunah, it's been great.
That's such a profound way of approaching it. I need to think about it a little bit more, but I'm just so impressed by the way that you've framed it. And of course, you know that we wish you every blessing in the world. So you touched a little bit about your social circle where you're living now. Tell us what life is like in this otherworldly place, Tzfat. Like, why did you and Ariel choose Tzfat for your home, and what does a typical day look like for you in Tzfat? Like, are you painting and going to the artist colony and walking a foot off the ground? Like what is life like in Tzfat?
Baruch Hashem, living in Tzfat is amazing. I definitely feel like Tzfat chose us. There was never like a moment where we're like, let's move to Tzfat. It was for us like just the most natural choice. I met my husband here while working at Ascent, and I know it's funny because we think
tell us what Ascent is for those who don't know.
So Ascent is essentially a hostel where people can come from anywhere around the world. We have constant travelers from literally, we had a girl from Vienna this Shabbat, like from everywhere. And they can go to Torah classes, they can have Shabbat meals, they can go on spiritual soul hikes. Like it's really your first stop in Tzfat for anyone who wants to experience like Tzfat as a traveler. So I work there, and I was working there when I came, I guess 4 years ago. And my husband to be was also working there. And so it's really funny because we think of Tzfat as like this very like floaty place, but for me, it's the place that I feel the most grounded and thank God the most productive. I think part of it's just like this overwhelming feeling of it's such a blessing to get to be here, and like living with the responsibility of like, if I get to live here, I have to give to this place. I have to help nourish Tzfat because it's such a privilege to be in the Ria Kadosha city. So a part of my daily life here starts with the best thing ever. I teach in the seminary at their morning Hasidus class, Tanya. So we start our morning with Hasidic psychology at 8 a.m. So it's fun. There's 44 girls in my class, and we have a great time together. It's a party it's a party in the mornings, I will say, pre-coffee party. And most of the day I'm writing and making my Tanya videos. I cook every now and then or something like that. Um, but a big part of my life here is, like I mentioned, is running this group. And for me, I always felt very isolated. Like there's the women who are like fertile, if you will, and they're having their children. And then there's like me. And like the other people are like in the category of me. And then like, shoot, they're having kids too. And for me, running this group for moms, like almost everyone in my group is a mother, and helping them like work on their shalom bayis and using these empowered wife skills and see these miracles and these transformations of their own effort, it made me connect with other women in a way that I was isolated from, just because I had isolated myself mentally. So being part of this group and being the support person for a lot of these women, as you know, they're figuring out the system. That's a big part of my week. But also like it's when we went to New York recently, I felt like I was floating. Like when I go to Toronto or from New York, like I feel like that Tzfat high. It's like, this is really like, I feel Hashem. Like here in Tzfat, I just feel like chill, which is funny.
It's nice. It's nice. Well, I want to let people know that if you're on the Zoom call, feel free to submit a question or a comment on the chat. I'm just looking at some of the Facebook comments. No one's really asked a question yet, just people are very impressed. So if anyone would like to submit a question, please feel free to do so. So Chana, you talked a little bit about helping some of your peers with shalom bayis. Are you seeing that? Is that one of the major challenges for your peer group? Is just trying to make marriage work, and is it something that you find to be universal across the board, or is it more? Are there unique problems in Tzfat, or tell us what your approach is to helping to bring shalom bayis to people's lives.
Thanks for the question. So my approach it's not my own. It's the Empowered Wife by Laura Doyle. It's a fantastic system. And for me, it's universal in the sense that one of the special parts about being in Tzfat for me is I feel like I get to touch other parts of the world in a way that I wouldn't get to without being here. Like, meaning all the tour groups come to Tzfat. So instead of me having to, I do travel to speak, but mostly like the world comes to Tzfat. And so with this group, we have 15 women, and one of the women in our group, she was originally, she's a friend in Muncie, and her friend was like, hello, what's going on with you? I've known you for all these years. Like, what's this transformation? And so she started her own group with another 10 women in Muncie, and other people are starting their other groups. And for me, it's like, that's so powerful. And I don't think it's a unique Tzfat thing. I do think the unique Tzfat thing, I don't know how unique this is, but people are definitely struggling financially, especially with COVID. Like hardworking people with good work ethic, but we're a tourist city and we ain't got no tourists. So our economy is basically flatlined. So I do think that does put a really big strain. And like, as the Keres Habayis, as the women who are, we set the spiritual, emotional, the entire tone of our home, strengthening ourselves in a hard times is so, so, so vital. Yeah, I hope that answers your question.
Well, that's certainly an advertisement for tourism to Tzfat. Certainly everyone should, next time you're in Israel, make sure you take your family to Tzfat and go visit Chana. Someone wanted to know the name of the seminary. You mentioned it's called Ascent, ASCENT. I imagine they have a website that a person could go to if they want more information.
Ascend up Tzfat. Is it worth a Google? Yeah. It's not a seminary. It's a hostel with classes.
Excellent. Excellent. Karen asks, what would be your advice for us as to how to make Judaism more accessible to those young people or not so young people who have not yet seen the beauty of Judaism?
My immediate go-to is by seeing it. Like when I'm in love with something, it's on my face, it's in my energy, it's in my body language. And so if I'm loving my Shabbos meal because I'm loving it, not because everyone else is loving it, because I'm loving Shabbos and I'm loving the Shabbos meal and I did whatever reading or meditation, whatever I needed to do to fill myself up, it's contagious. And a comment I get a lot from birthday groups is, you seem so excited about this. And it's like, that wasn't my point. I wanted you to like all the intellectual things I said. But usually like that's not what people comment on. They're like, yeah, cool, interesting. But it's more like seeing someone who's genuinely excited about it. And so on all my top of my talks that like I always write for myself, like a certain notes. And one of the notes I write is you enjoy this. You enjoy this moment being with these people. You enjoy these concepts. Like, and I think just the more genuinely we can get ourselves pumped up, then it's real. Then like, then it's not weird. Like if I love something, it's not weird to share and talk about it. There's nothing preachy about it. It's so authentic to talk about things that we love and we're passionate about. And then to like, see someone at the grocery store, and if I love Shabbat candles and they might not know about it, I'm excited to share it with them because, hello, this is a gift from God to you. This is your heritage. Like the same way if someone lost $1 million and you saw the check on the floor, you'd be excited to be like, hello, this is yours. And you're like, it's like a joyful thing. You get to share it. So we're not offering anything to anyone that isn't already theirs. Whether that means they're Jewish, they're not Jewish. We're helping someone get in touch with their purpose. And so, yeah, just the more I'm living it, the easier and more authentic it's going to feel to share it.
Well, you're certainly a testament to the fact that when someone possesses their own flame, they can help ignite others. And that's really the bottom line. Is we have to be able to generate our own flame before we can ignite others. It's so true. Is your I don't know if your husband Rabbi Ariel is available. Is he around right now, or is he out and about?
He's actually being sick all day. There's something going around Tzfat. But if you have a question, what, Ariel? He said I could come, I guess. You want to make a grand appearance?
Well, we just wanted him to say hi and let us know what for him life is like, living with you and living in Tzfat and doing your holy work together. But if he's not feeling well, we understand.
Ariel, you up to it? He's coming over.
Okay. Someone wrote on the Facebook that he has fond memories of Chana and her family when you were a student at AY Jackson SS. Always a positive spirit and bright spark. So proud of your accomplishments, from Alan Zuck.
Oh, he's the principal or the vice principal, or at least he was when I was in school there. That was so fun for me, because I was becoming religious while I was in public school. And so the fact that the vice principal was like this frum Jew, like that was so cool for me. Like I would like walk down the hallway and be like, I'm keeping kosher today. Like and for me it was a crack up.
High five. Yeah. Okay. All right. So is Ariel still going to come on, or?
Yeah, he's coming.
Okay.
Thank you for your mysterious nefesh, Ariel. How you doing? He's hot and jacketing as we speak.
It's okay. Tell him we're very casual in Thornhill.
Yeah,
we don't need the hat and jacket.
So we're here. Sure.
Here, you can take mine. Come. I'll grab one.
Okay.
Shalom aleichem, Ariel.
Aleichem shalom.
And a refuah shalema.
Yeah.
So tell us, we just spent the better part of an hour listening to some inspiring words from your Rebbitzin. Tell us what life is like together with Chana on this journey that you're on in Tzfat. In 5 minutes or less.
It's a shlichus. I feel like there's out, there's the I don't usually use the term, but there's outreach, there's going out, the shluchim, and doing outreach and spreading the light of Torah and of Hasidus and Judaism to others. And then there's inreach. And I'm involved in Yeshiva Timimei Derech. It's a yeshiva here, English-speaking yeshiva for beginners, and also for a lot of people who they grew up in yeshiva. And it's as much for them as it is for somebody coming in who doesn't, necessarily know you know, so much. We have guys who come in, they're learning their alphabet, and we have guys who grew up their whole life going to yeshiva, and it's not a one-way street. There's a reciprocity, because somebody who grew up their whole life, they have the, they don't have to like learn, how to read Hebrew, learn the language, learn the concepts. It's, they got that all earlier, but it's like, I'm always in it. So there's an inspiration that comes both ways. There's an inspiration for people who, have been in it and being like, wow, like you're so pumped up about this. Like, and you're like trying to do this, learning these things that I learned as a kid, you're learning them as an adult, and you're like totally on fire about it. It's a big, so it's a big inspiration, not just for the, for the newcomers, but it's an inspiration for people who, who come. There's a smicha program, and so people come to do smicha, and some of the guys actually, but it's Tzfat's a place. Someone was telling me on Purim, he said, we don't know what it's going to be like when Mashiach comes. We don't really know what the year of redemption looks like. I mean, we know in a certain sense we have prophecies and we have the teachings, and the whole world will know Hashem. We'll all be together as one, in each in our individual way, but all unified. Because it's a different paradigm, it's a different energy, and we can start to tap into it now. But he said, imagine, you're in a city where it's like everybody's working on themselves, everybody's trying to be better people, and everyone's sensitive to each other, and everyone's learning Torah and doing, the inner work. It's like, oh, like Tzfat. And so there's this vibrant community. We're all trying to, accomplish the same, more or less the same thing, each in our own way. We're all trying to get closer. We're all trying to, develop and grow. And it's quite something. And we're all trying, inspiring each other and sharing and coming together and each in our way. It's, each person really, there's the space for each person. It's very refreshing, for each person to really be themselves, to be, to serve Hashem in your way.
Ariel, thank you so much for coming on. I know that you're not feeling well, so we wish you a refuah shalema. And Chana, are you able to come back on camera together?
Hey.
There you go. So let me just remind everyone, the name of the book is Jumping in Puddles. Where can they purchase this, Chana, if they want it?
Jumping in Puddles is available on Amazon. You just need to search Jumping in Puddles, Chana Margulies, and it'll come up. And it's also available in Israel's Judaica in the famous Sobeys Plaza.
Okay.
And it's also
and what's it called?
And what? It's also Kindle.
Farm, no, the farm place.
In the farm place.
No, the bookstore.
Oh, it's also available, Harl's reminded me, in my father's bookstore, Willow Books, in Port Perry. So if you're going on a day trip to Port Perry and you want to get your coffee there, you can.
It's worth a trip just to be able to meet David Spiro, who runs his antiquarian bookshop, and he carries the book as well. I just wanted to say hi to Rachel and David, who are on the call today, and everybody else who's a big fan of Chana's from back here in Thornhill. Listen, we want to thank you for spending time with us. Thank you for inspiring us. Thank you for sharing just a small part of your journey. And one thing I know, there are many people out there who are very, very talented, who are rising stars in their various different professions and vocations and paths in life. When it comes to the Jewish people, you guys are rising stars, and we're so proud to be a part of your life and your journey, and we look forward to seeing where life takes you in the future. So thank you for this beautiful book, and we'll hope to see you soon. Hopefully we'll be able to jump in puddles together. All right, thank you, everyone. Yeah,
thank you
everybody.
so much for doing this. I just want to add that if anyone wants to receive my daily videos or other articles and books, you can go to my website, chanamargulies.org. It's spelled just like my name. And if you have any questions, you want to be in touch afterwards, please feel free to be in touch through there. And I look forward to jumping in puddles, Rabbi Kroc. And you're like a really big role model for me, and someone who's like the rabbi, and like the fact that you want to talk to me about my life and my book, it's exactly the same energy that brought me into Judaism. So thank you.
Thank you. Rabbis need inspiration too, and you gave us a great dose today. All right. Thanks, everybody. Great to see you all. Have a wonderful day. Now you can get back to Pesach cleaning. Take care. Have a great day, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.